Hello, hello, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV. Since last time I went up to Onokoro and I got the Aetherite, and I figured I'd just deprive you of seeing the entire swim. It's basically just 3 minutes of swimming both ways. So, or well, actually one way, so all you've really missed out on is 6 minutes of swimming. Which is not exactly the... I mean, like, it's... Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch your guy swim or whatever, but, you know, it's just the same thing. It's the one repetitive motion over and over again. You don't even, you know, you're not even getting any sort of, you know, kick out of it beyond the, you know, beyond a certain point. Got lava crabs. Guess that too makes us all look like we're kids.
Gentlemen, I'm told you were most unreceptive to my associate's requests. I realize you do not look kindly on the Confederacy and her ways, but if you refuse to pay the ruby tithe, your safety in these waters cannot be assured.
Spare me your concern, pirate. Your feeble attempts at extortion will not work on us. You remain at large because we allow it. Because you are such insignificant little pests that we see no need to swat you.
Damn.
But if you wish to risk the ire of the Viceroy, by all means, fire upon an Imperial vessel. Give us a reason to bring the full might of the Garlean Empire to bear against your pathetic fleet.
Bastards!
Gentlemen, surely the fact that you have such limitless resources at your disposal gives you all the more reason to spare some few coins for the less fortunate.
All talk, just as I thought. Come, let us away. I have no time for this rubbish.
Interesting katana he's got there. That's actually the deep gold model for a katana, I think. Could be wrong. But I don't think that model of katana actually existed in Stormblood Beyond cutscenes.
We're all the same to them, aren't we? Savages to be ruled or slaughtered.
They've always balked at paying the ruby tithe, but they were never so eager to pick a fight. The problem, you see, is that many of my comrades in the Confederacy are of Doman descent. And the acting Viceroy, well, she's none too fond of Domans, to say the least. If we take any action to hinder the safe passage of an Imperial vessel, she'll accuse us of attempting to foment rebellion and brand us enemies of the Empire, which we can ill afford to be. Like the man said, we're all talk.
That's a shame.
And where did the Kojin stand in all this?
With the winning side, of course. They're mercenaries to a fault, eager to offer their services without coercion. The Shellback could tell you more, though something tells me he would rather not.
I don't understand. If the Garleans are causing the Confederacy this much trouble, and if so many of you are Doman to begin with, why aren't you willing to fight back?
Spoken like a true friend of the Doman Liberation Front. If you're planning to rouse us with noble words and grand promises, don't bother. We all know what the Imperial Army can do. Compared to them, we're boys with boats. Besides, what ties a man may once have held to his home are forsaken upon joining the Confederacy. We look out for none but our own. Be that as it may, our livelihood is under threat. And the captain will need to decide soon whether we're to go down in a blaze of glory, or bow and scrape for crumbs from the Emperor's table. All while our friend the Viceroy continues her purge of Doma's radical elements. I believe she's holding court in one of the fishing villages even as we speak.
That she-devil! Her perfidy knows no bounds! She must be stopped! Come, let us find Soroban and put us here at once!
Tell the others that these ones have paid. We all have places to be.
We might get to see the Viceroy in this episode. I don't exactly remember what the first cutscene is for her showing up. Of course they don't really believe that, Lise, but, you know, like you said, just boys with boats. Not much a boat can do against an airship, let alone an aerial gunship. If we had some anti-air turrets mounted on their ships, that might work. Or if we had, you know, aerial units of our own to counter their aerial units, then yeah, our boats would be a huge advantage. Sort of, as long as they could go inland, I suppose. I don't think the Empire has much of a navy. It's from a landlocked nation, after all, so why would they have fleets? Well, naval fleets, anyway. Of course, in real life, you'd want a naval fleet so you could have aircraft carriers, because like Alphanode said, you'd need a massive fuel tanks and reserves to, you know, have a aerial ship fly all the way across the land. Oh, for the love of Pete. I swear, Stormblood is full of this shit, where they put the quest markers right next to enemies that, you know, that are aggressive. Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, the Kojin of the Blue are the good beastmen, and the Kojin of the Red are the bad. Just like every other beastman tribe we've met up till now, there's a good tribe, bad tribe. All aboard! Not that silly. Oh, ceruleum has a scent, huh? I imagine it to smell like oil, since it's basically magical oil, but, we'll see. Actually, I guess we'll never see, because you can't exactly smell a video game, but, well, can't smell things within the software of a video game?
Even accounting for the rebellion, such indiscriminate shows of force seem pointlessly excessive.
If only you knew how commonplace such scenes have become. Are we too late?
Over there, someone's coming.
Hey, look, it's that Lummox again. And... oh, she's kind of cute.
She, sworn enemy of Doma, of my master. The traitor who sold her homeland to the Garleans. Yotsuyu.
The Viceroy herself. And look behind her. Isn't that...
Yep, it's Grinawat.
Filth and squalor everywhere, I think. How very dull. What I wouldn't do for a drink.
Is she really not going to be voice acted right now?
Come now. You've no reason to look so afraid. You have lived through a quarter of a century of Garlean rule, remember? 'Tis better to bend with the wind than stand tall and be broken. Therein lies hope. Therein lies freedom. I come before you today seeking affirmation. A heartfelt declaration. You are free to answer me as you see fit, yet even the least among you should know the correct response. Should. A resident of your village, one of your neighbors, mayhap your friend, was detained by the Kojin this morning. They say he was attempting to flee to Kugane. But we both know that simply isn't true, don't we? Have you anything to say? Bit slow, this one. Is there anyone more sensible among you? Have any of you anything to say? To swear?
My lady, I swear to serve the Empire, to do whatever is asked of me, and never disobey.
Well said, that man. Of course, it wouldn't do to simply take you at your word. Kill him. Surely you can do that much. He must be guilty of something or other, or he wouldn't have attempted to flee the Empire.
I have a family. Kami, forgive me. Kami, forgive me.
Very, very good. I've always had a soft spot for men like you. Next, I want you to shoot those two over there. Too old to work, you understand. A burden on the Empire. We can't have that.
But they're my parents. You can't expect me to...
Well, we could have stopped this.
Stop and think for a moment. If you go charging in now, every one of those villagers is as good as dead. We must consider the wider picture. If we act recklessly, we risk alerting the Garleans to our presence here, making it that much harder for us to work with the local rebels. To say nothing of the reprisals ordinary civilians would be made to suffer.
Open your eyes, girl. They are already suffering. Let me go. I am putting an end to this madness. I will approach the village alone and identify myself as a former leader of the rebellion and a known fugitive. They will wish to detain me until they are certain they have learned all I know. Use this time to make your plans.
You saw what those monsters did to the villagers. Who knows what they'll do to you, assuming they don't kill you where you stand?
We live and die at the pleasure of the Kami. My fate is in their hands and no others. If it be of any comfort, I am no stranger to chains.
You can't expect us to stand idly by as a comrade goes marching off to his death. And this is nothing like Kugane.
Wait, did Lisa actually just say comrade the normal way? The real way? She didn't say comrade? Oh my god. Lisa's awesome.
Nor is it like the Reach, Lise, or the Wall. Let him go. Hold out for as long as you can, but remember, noble sacrifices are to remain an absolute last resort. I wish I could say it won't come to that, but only the gods know how we're going to get you and the others out in one piece. A miracle, perchance.
A great tower stands to the north and east. Look to its occupants for aid and succor. Together, you may yet find your miracle. Now, leave this place. I must go.
Oh. Another idiot like all the rest. I'm beginning to think it may be something fundamental. Something intrinsic. Something quintessentially Doman to ignore the simple truth. You can't do a damn thing if you're dead.
Enough, Yotsuyu!
Well now, This is a surprise.
Hear me, Yotsuyu! Cease this farce, here and now, and I shall surrender myself to you. Refuse, and all shall answer to my blade.
Bring him to the tavern.
What a twist. And not really a twist, although I do think it's needlessly complicating things. She's the Viceroy. We're strong enough to kill her as we are, and we're strong enough to kill those two simple Garleans too. And we're fast enough to get in there before she shoots anybody else. Considering that, you know, all he had to do was walk up and surprise her to make her hesitate. Really quite silly. Now we could just teleport over to Onokoro, but might as well swim because, well, more map experience points, and also, you know, this quest marker is about halfway there anyway, so. It's one sick-looking walrus. Heaven on high. Well, something that big, yeah, where would a stray arrow be? Fight me, damn it. I wonder if I can cancel my procs. Oh wow, you can. You can cancel your procs. How about that? wonder why they call the settlement Crick, even though the Aetheryte's called Anokoro. And I had attuned to the Aetheryte now, but I already did. So. Maybe. Oh, Lise. Considering the Confederacy makes you sever the ties between you and your all previous nations or previous loyalties, you don't even know if their leader is from the Far East, though it's probably a pretty good bet that he is. I'm shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked. Jump down. Ugh. I hate overly distinct places where, like, you can't jump down. It's annoying. no use or maintenance, huh? So they could use some better weapons, probably. So they eat a lot of fish, but not much else. So maybe we could bribe them with food. So it also seems like they have supplies, but they don't. So they're undersupplied right now, probably because they haven't been able to collect their ruby tithe all that much. So none of them, they have every motive to go against the Empire, but they don't because they're an inferior fighting force. So if we could get them better weapons, more food, more supplies, and stoke the passion of their discontent, we could get them on our side, perhaps. Oh, of course, of course. Help them out by being adventurers, basically. Time to become Lord of the Fetch. You've learned Eastern Vow. So now, here we go. We got 3 main storyline quests, all of which are going to be bitch work, but you know how it goes. Do the bitch work, gain the allies, do the not bitch work. I gotta be honest, I don't think I could drink booze and then get on a ship that was sailing quickly. I have gotten drunk on a ferry boat before when I visited Greece back in 2009. But maybe I'll tell you more about that story as we go. It was a college honor student trip. I started college out as an honor student, and of course, a couple years in, I lost my honors. And I actually dropped out, but how's that surprising, you know? But, basically, honor students were given a chance to go to Greece. I wasn't gonna go, I had no interest in going really, but the other honor students convinced me to tell my parents about it anyway, so I did. And much to my surprise, my parents said, "You're going, and that's final." And I was like, what? Cause like all I had said was, you know, like, it's gonna cost a lot of money, over $2,000, and like, I'm gonna be gone for 9 days if I do go. And I thought, based on the price alone, you know, that they weren't gonna let me go, but they basically made me go, and it wound up being a really good trip. So. It was with a tour group. We flew Lufthansa. I remember on the plane, an Italian man sat next to me, and he thought that I was German, so he was multilingual. He could speak Italian, English, German, and I think Spanish. And he tried speaking German to me, and I looked at him and, like, you know, like quizzically, and I was just sort of like, excuse me, are you speaking German? And he says, well, of course, aren't you German? And I said, well, no, I'm American. And he said, well, I'll be damned. Like, you could pass for someone straight out of Germany. You look German, you don't look American. And I don't really agree with that. I don't think my nose is nearly narrow enough to be any sort of European. Europeans all sort of got, like, narrow noses that are sort of pointy, and a lot of them are hooked. That's the only way I know how to describe it. But I took it as a compliment, and because I'm like 1/3 German, and the Italian and I got into a discussion. Basically, he was on the way back to Italy for a sad reason. It was the funeral of his grandmother. Apparently, here in the States, he owns a train company. And he asked me what I was getting into school for, and I told him at the time, you know, I was getting into school for programming. And you know, my education on that hadn't even really begun in earnest. And but he got super excited and gave me his, like, email and the name of his train company, and told me, you know, to follow up on this after I get out of school, and that he would certainly remember me. And, like, I mean, we spent 15 hours together on an airplane, so I got to know the guy decently well for, you know, a first-time meeting, like one-time meeting. Although for the life of me, I can't remember his name these days. I did hold on to his email for like a year or two, but eventually I was like, when my programming education didn't really pan out, like I wasn't terrible at programming, but you know, I wasn't exactly anything to write home about. So, and I found I didn't really have a passion for it, and also the instructor at the college was kind of an asshole, and although he at least did actually instruct us in things, but that was because it was a liberal arts college and only 2 people were taking his dang programming course. you know, my plan was to take his course, all his courses, you know, pass them all, and then transfer to a technical college in Atlanta, like Southern Poly, but well, you know, that just didn't come about. That didn't come about. I wound up failing his third programming course, barely, because he wanted me and the other guy to team up to do this huge programming project. The other guy wasn't having as hard a time with the class as I was, so he literally was like, I'm just gonna, you know, eat a 0 and still pass. And I couldn't afford to eat a 0, so I tried to do it, but then I hit a roadblock and I just couldn't finish. And it's not like you could turn in a half-finished program really and get any credit in that course, the way the instructor did the classes. So I also ate a 0, and I actually did the math, and I wouldn't have failed, but the grade you make when classes are that small, are like entirely up to the professor. So he failed me, and you know, it's really upsetting. So I just, you know, it was one of the reasons I stopped going. Like, I just didn't return. The main reason I didn't return, though, is I still needed like 9 science credits to get my associates in science. So I would have had to take 3 science courses the next semester, and I would have needed a full extra semester to get my associates. And I'd lost all my scholarships, so I would have had to pay their full tuition price. And I was going to a college where the tuition was $28,000 per semester, so it's kind of, you know, asinine. Like, there's no fucking way I was gonna be able to pay that, even with loans. Just not feasible. Not feasible at all. I doubt we're gonna get through all the busy work side quests these days, or well, not these days, today or in this recording, but we'll see how far we get. Got about what, like 16 minutes left in the recording or something like that. I lose track so easily. Especially when everything is very cutscene oriented, because like I'll start recording and then I'll be like, oh, I need to look at the time, and then the cutscene will drag on for like 6 minutes, and I'll be like, okay, what time did I actually get into that cutscene at? Someday I'll be more professional at this, maybe. This quest is one I actually remember. And I remember it because when this was new, you know, you saw just lines of people on mounts riding to these destinations and popping the sharks. So you'd have like, you know, 6 people standing right here with, you know, 6 sharks spawning like right there. And interesting that the sea life can fly, but yeah, it's Final Fantasy. They've always had these unusual monsters that can, sea monsters that can attack you when you're even just close to water, or in like a watery cave or something. You know? Is that a red Kojin? It is a red Kojin. So as long as you're ethnically Doman, Yatsu wants you dead. Or in chains. Wonder what could have made her hate Doman so much. If she herself is Doman. Probably forced into sexual slavery. Given this game's track record with, you know, how many times female characters are have that happen to them. Which is honestly just a reflection of real life. It happened many, 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 many times in medieval history all around the world, but especially in Japan. In fact, that was just like a regular like occurrence in Japan and in like the early, you know, early times all the way up to when they started letting foreigners in the 1800s or whatever. Well, we'll see what he says. He'll probably still play hard to get.
Our most compassionate acquaintances return. For your deeds, we owe you many thanks. But something tells me our thanks are not sufficient. The strange thing is, I was certain you understood our position. And yet here you are with that same look in your eyes, and those same words upon your lips, I'll wager.
Yeah, something like that.
I speak only the truth. The Confederacy will not be spared Yotsuyu's wrath. You have always known this, that one day you would have no choice but to stand up to the Empire. I say to you that day is today, and come once more to ask that you join us in the fight.
How convenient that recent events should lend such credence to your claims. Tell me, do death and destruction always follow in your wake?
Uh-oh, he's got
They
a good
had
point.
no part in it, Tansui. You know this. We all know this. They came and took our Doman brothers. They will torture them for her sport. Murder them for her satisfaction. So we attack and get butchered for our trouble, or do naught and let them have their pound of flesh. If this be our choice, I say we suffer the ignominy. We endure. We survive. There is no better path. Until the day our enemy is grown weaker and we stronger, there can be no retribution. We will wait for a sign. Such is the judgment of the Confederacy.
So that's it then. You're just going to abandon them to her. They'd die for you, you know, for the Confederacy. They would die for you, but you wouldn't even think to risk your lives for theirs.
I have one last idea, if you will allow. I'm afraid it's not very good as ideas go. It's exceedingly reckless, in fact, and you may well come to despise me for ever having suggested it. Assuming we survive, that is. The question being, do you trust me?
Ask me again later. Do you even need to ask? Is what I go with. We went through Coil together, obviously.
We can't stand by and let innocent people suffer, here or anywhere else. I'll do whatever it takes.
Then let us roll the dice. If it's a sign you want, we shall give you one. One rousing enough to make you drive every Garlean out of Isari without a second thought. You are wary of invoking the ire of the Imperial forces stationed in Dome, correct? Know then that once we have rescued our comrade and freed Asari, we mean to liberate the nation as a whole. You will doubtless require assurances that we are capable of achieving this, and that is only fair. Accordingly, we shall demonstrate our seriousness by depriving the Garleans of a key ally, the Kojin.
What, the three of you, just like that?
Yeah, the three of us. You see these muscles? Look at these
Actually,
guns.
my esteemed colleague here will attend to it on his own. But the how of it is not your concern, only the outcome. If we succeed, you help us liberate Asari. If we fail, you lose nothing. A simple enough wager, if you have the stones for it.
The little miss does make it hard to refuse, does she not?
Words are air. We will weigh you by your deeds.
Oh, it's not going to be the first time we hear that line in this expansion. That actually looks like a pretty cool shirt. It's too bad I'm not a... Oh, but wait, there's one for striking. Ooh, that could be a glam piece. Buddy boy, you don't know who you're talking to. Least thinking, huh? What an odd thing to bring up, honestly. Honestly, I could go without mentioning Y'shtola. She's got her hands in enough pies. Yeah. It would appear that that aetheryte's within a cave of some sort. It looks like it's under the water. How are we gonna get there? Oh, well, maybe we'll find out. He did say there was a cave, right? Then again, we might not find out. We're getting pretty close to the time limit on this recording. But, well, we'll see. We'll see. This looks like almost a sheer cliff, so I guess we're gonna have to veer off to this beach. But at least once we get out of the water, we'll be able to mount our horse. Got any other mounts that are more watery? Like, say, a water horse? Yeah, seems a bit excessive. I never really liked the elemental horses all that much. Not that they don't look cool or have cool effects around their hooves and stuff, but, well, they all just seem like derivatives of the nightmare, and I'd rather just have the nightmare, or a normal horse, even. I don't exactly remember how we get over there. It's been a while since I took the land route to get there. I think it's right in here, though. Yep, this would be the place. How much further in do I think it is? Well, I think it's just a few short hops away. Wouldn't have made that if I wasn't on my mount, but no reason to not be on my mount, honestly.
Is that light I see up ahead?
Yep, sure is. Hurry up before the clip ends. There we go. Okay. It's underwater. It's got some bubble that's protecting it from the ocean. And a weird aetherite.
We appear to be standing inside a giant bubble. By the 12. I think we're on the seabed.
If this cuts off in the middle, I'll watch it from the end room and start us off.
Well, I thought I heard familiar voices.
Start us off where we left off next time.
Soroban, what are you doing here?
What